morning, everybody. Hope you've had an awesome week. I've had a fantastic week, although you may notice that I am sitting here all on my lonesome. I don't have somebody sitting beside me. Yes, unfortunately, Jody is not able to join us for opening Sabbath this evening. She is running a little bit late, but also she's also been doing her placement with her nursing so that she can become a nurse again. And so that has kept her away from joining us for opening Sabbath this evening. So please forgive me. You're going to have to put up with me tonight. I'm pretty boring usually, so hopefully I don't bore you too much tonight. And wherever you watch us from or watching from, please jump on, say a comment, tell us where you're watching. We've come on a little bit early this evening. Last couple of weeks we've been coming on at 6 o'clock, but this week we're coming on a little bit earlier because we have a program starting at 6:30 tonight, which is We Are the Church. So everyone that watches tonight, if you haven't heard about it, We Are the Church, do a search. Sounds like a nursery rhyme. Maybe I'm doing well to do that. So We Are the Church kicks off at 6:30 tonight, right across the South Pacific. So this is something that we can all jump online and watch this evening. And also it will continue tomorrow with a 9:30 program, 11 o'clock program, and a 3:30 program. You'll have to make sure you're watching the 3:30 program because tomorrow Mount Druitt Church will be featured as one of the churches. I can reveal that because I want to. So that will be happening coming up tomorrow. So how's your week been? What's been happening in your space? Share with us. Tell us what you've been up to over this week. I can tell you, yes, I've had a busy week with lots of things happening. A highlight for me is, well, I did turn another year older. Not to worry. I still got a little bit of hair. It's getting grayer, so I'm told. I've got a beautiful wife who loves me so much and has spoiled me yesterday. We actually got to spend breakfast together. So that was really good to take the opportunity to spend some time talking and celebrating my birthday yesterday over breakfast. So, and a big thank you to those that found out that it was my birthday and commented. I like to try and keep quiet. Maybe I should change that on Facebook or something. I don't know. But it's really awesome. And thank you for those that did wish me a happy birthday. I really did appreciate that. So that's one of highlights of many this week. One of my children this week did a science test, and they messaged me yesterday when they did, and they had a science test and they got 100% out of that in that science test, which is really fantastic as well. So congratulations to Jasmine for doing so well with your science, and I know you're loving school and things are going really well for you. Thank you, Esther, for wishing us a happy birthday for yesterday. Really do appreciate that, so thank you. So another couple of things. I know some of you are probably on the way home this evening, finishing work, because I know as restrictions are lifting, we are seeing many people finishing work around 5 o'clock and they're making the commute in Sydney or wherever you are, making the commute home. Just drive safe. Whatever you're doing, make sure that you take care on the roads. Or if you're already at home and you're watching, tell us what you're doing, where you're watching from. I'm in my castle. No, not really. It's just a nice backdrop, which looks like I'm sitting in a castle, an old ancient castle. Looks a bit cold. It feels really cold. So that's why I chose this for this evening, to feel like I'm down in my dungeon or in my castle waiting for the weather to warm up, and I've got a nice fire sitting in front of me. Happy Sabbath to you, Veronica, as well, and your family. Hope you had a great week as well. So I've been listening to lots of different things this week, and one of the things that came to my mind this week is, what could I talk about for opening Sabbath? And what came to me was one of the podcasts I was listening to was talking about resilience. I'll say it again, resilience. And resilience is something that we all have. I actually had to look up the dictionary to see what it said, and it said it's the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness. The ability of substance or object to spring back into shape. So for a substance could be maybe a piece of plastic, a ball. It has the ability to, once you've crushed it a little bit, to spring back into its original shape, or maybe it's elastic. But I like the first one there. It says the capacity to recover quickly. We all have resilience in this time that we are in, and as restrictions are easing, many of us are starting to go, oh, things have changed. And so it's really posed a big challenge for us as to how these things have changed in our life and how we are able to adapt to that change. And that's what it's really about. You know, the Bible talks about resilience. It says resilience is the ability, the quality of being able to adapt to stressful life changes and bouncing back. And I love that and it's from hardship, or it could be from something that's happened. You know, many people have really suffered during this time. They've lost their jobs and they've lost loved ones, and they haven't been able to get together, and we haven't been able to even get together as a church during this time. And so, you know, one of the things that's going to be really interesting as we do is how we bounce back and through our resilience is a response to tragedy, to a crisis, or other life-altering changes that allows us to move on despite the loss. Showing resilience does not mean that a person is unaffected or uncaring about the life change. Resilience is the human's heart's ability to suffer greatly and grow from it. You know, one of my favorite Bible characters is found in the Old Testament, and it's Job. Job is one of the great, he demonstrates an awesome amount of resilience, and God honors him for that. After losing everything, Job is in great agony of his soul and body, yet he refused to curse the Lord or to give up. In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. And that's what's awesome about. Later, when the suffering intensified, Job's wife counseled him to curse God and die, and that's found in Job 2 verse 9. But Job would not even consider such a thing. Despite his suffering, Job knew that God was in control, and that knowledge helped him maintain resilience instead of giving in to defeat. You know, that's something that we can learn from, is that through everything that we're facing, whatever you face this week, in the challenges that you've had, whether it's work-related, whether you've got a problem with work or whether you've got a problem at home or a marital problem, is know that God is in control and that we need to put our hands and our lives into God every day. And because of Job's faith, it resulted in resilience. One enemy of resilience is the incorrect assumption that we know how things will end. And I can tell you, I've got no idea how these things will end. I can simply say, God is in control, and we don't need to assume that we can think we know how things are going to end. And especially during this time of as restrictions are easing, we don't know how this is going to end. When situation seems out of control or does not appear to be headed in the right direction, we tend to write the end of the story for ourselves. We think we know the final result. So instead of exercising resilience, we give up or take matters into our own hands because we want to be in control of that. And this is where, you know, we need to really let God be in control. Proverbs 3 verse 5 and 6 is a really awesome passage, and it says to cling to whenever, and this is something we can cling to whenever we can have a struggle, whatever you're struggling with right now, a disaster, whatever's happening in your life, whether it's marriage, whether it's not being able to find work, not sure where your next meal is coming from. Cling to this, we need to trust in God, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Choosing to trust in the Lord rather than rely on what we understand is the best way to stay resilient. So that's my thought for opening Sabbath tonight. I hope you've had a great week, and I hope that you are blessed throughout this Sabbath. We will be posting throughout the weekend, tonight and tomorrow, where you can find the links for We Are the Church. And it's a great opportunity where you can comment and interact with other people from right across the South Pacific. So there's a couple of different time zones, and you can select when you want to jump in, whether you're watching from New Zealand. Happy Sabbath to you, Jane, as well. Whether you're watching in the Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, or watching in Western Australia, you'll be able to jump on and interact with people from within your region. And I hope that this is a real blessing, brings a real blessing to you and to your family, because you'll hear stories of what's happened and how people have coped during the restrictions right across the South Pacific, and you'll find out also what they're doing as well to moving forward. Have a wonderful Sabbath. Have a wonderful time during the Sabbath. You can join us for Clothing Sabbath tomorrow at 5 p.m. I won't be taking it, but Tio and Renee have been doing an awesome job leading out and doing an awesome job with Closing Sabbath. And I know they've been talking about the 5 love languages, so feel free to jump on and share your thoughts about the love languages. Last week was spending time, which is really awesome, something that we need to do. And so throughout the Sabbath, reflect on how you have been resilient and praise God for the blessings that you've been received. Thank you, Farrell, and hope you've had a great Sabbath to you and your family as well. God bless everyone. We'll see you next week.